Hey, how you doing, guys? For this week's topic, we're gonna do some more Canon C100 shenanigans, or what I call picture profiles. We're gonna be playing around with those again. Of course, it's not just necessarily for the Canon C100. It could be for their DSLR line, their cinema cameras, because they all use picture profiles. And so I kind of wanted to talk about using different ones. Now, they by default, Canon does have three. And I'm specifically talking about the Canon Cinema line, which is EOS Standard, YDR, and Canon-Log or C-Log. And those come with the Cinema line, but occasionally I find that they're a little bit more overbearing. Give an example, the EOS Standard, which is also for their DSLR line as well. Seems to be very saturated, giving you that classic Canon look. Not the greatest to use. It's unnatural. It doesn't seem to have natural colors. And then with the Cinema, I find it way too desaturated, perhaps way overdone a bit. So I kind of wanted to look for other ways to change these profiles. Now, you can go into the settings, picture profile, and change them yourself. And there's literally dozens or maybe even hundreds of settings in there where you can tweak it to your liking. Now, I'm not particularly good for that. I do know what some of those settings do. Most of it I do not. So I kind of looked on the internet to try to find one that would work for me. Because you can download them and install them, and then it'll give you that picture profile. And I did finally find some that seems to be very logical, and this comes from the website DVX User, which is on the online forum, in particular Cowpunk, that's his username. And when I started reading his blog or whatever, or forum post, he seems to really, he not only did he give all his settings, but each one had a particular use that seemed very logical to me. So I immediately implied them into my own Canon C100. And now his settings is for the Canon C300. It won't work. You can't install it automatically. So he does give all the manual settings, so which I put into my camera. It does take quite a bit of time to do each one. But I really seem to like them, and I'm going to try to use them more for my own use. So we're going to take a look at those now. Okay, we're going to take a look at the default picture profiles. This is EOS Standard, which is considered probably one of the classic looks for their cinema and DSLR line. To me, it's quite oversaturated with colors. But I'm giving an example of what it looks like for reference. This is YDR, and this is designed to be between the standard look and their Canon C-Log, and supposedly you can be able to even use it as final delivery without any color correction or editing. But I find it still way too desaturated for everyday use. Okay, this is the Canon C-Log, and I've used this for a long time. The only thing is it's too desaturated for everyday use. I don't know. I'm kind of been looking for something a little bit more, and it doesn't seem to quite balance out well even when I do the base color correction. So that's why I like these new picture profiles. This is a look at the VWeed 5, which is designed for final delivery, where you don't have to do any color correction or anything else to it, which is comparable to what the EOS Standard is. And I find it has much more natural colors in something the way it actually should look like. Here's a comparison of the EOS Standard and the VWeed 5, and to give it a comparison between the two, for instance, and I do find the VWeed 5 a little bit better for general use. And I do use it occasionally for topics and thing I just want to put on YouTube really quickly. Okay, here's a comparison with Canon C-Log and Cine-Log. Now, Cine-Log is kind of like a more subdued Canon C-Log. I do find this Canon C-Log a bit too desaturated. Of course, with the Canon C-Log, you do get 12 stops of dynamic range, but Cine-Log I find is a little bit better for my needs. This is Seaweed 5. Now, this is very similar to the V-Weed 5 in that it's better for if you want to do color correction and even adding a film look, which I've done already. And so if you don't want final delivery and you're still planning on doing some color correction, this is a perfect picture profile for you to use.